eModels.co.uk. Make something awesome.
Shut up and sit down.
Hello gang, Colin here, Festa 67's workshop, and welcome to the eModels build of, the Honda CBR 1000RR Fireblade by Tamiya. And Festa's doing a bike at long last, and we're going to be doing it in the colours on the box art, because I do think it looks rather sexy. So let's have a quick look at what's in the box. Got the obligatory Tamiya instructions there, usually really concise instructions, and you'll notice this little tiny section in the corner. Let's just move that box a minute. And what that is that's a correction. So I've stapled it to the inside of the first page just to remind me it's there. And then as I get to the appropriate page, I can flip it over the top, and there's a few errors in the instructions, so keep that handy. So the usual Tamiya concise instructions there with bits of the engine, frame, etc. So really clearly laid out. There's the wheels, other bits of the frame, tubes, chains and things. And what you'll also notice with the instructions is you'll have pictures of the pipes and the screws, and you literally just measure the screw against the thing on the instructions and the pipes, and it will be the exact size. I love that they do that. You've got a bit more with the radiators. Got the front end, brakes, tanks, things like that. So really clear. And then at the end there, you've got your different paint schemes and things like that. So keep a note of it, because you'll see at the back in section 42 it says A or B. A is the red and blue, and B is the black version. So I've gone through my instructions, and anywhere where it says B, I've put a pencil line through it so that I don't mess up the build. And then on the back there, you've got some aftermarket service where if you're missing any particular parts, things like that, and a couple of bits of guides on the painting. So I'll just quickly flick back through just to make sure that I've actually cut mine section B's out, because I'm bound to have forgot one. Looking all right, and keep an eye out for your decals as well. Because different stages you'll have decals to apply as well, folks. So so keep an eye out for that on there, because it will trip you up if you're not careful. Really good instructions though. I do like the Tamiya instructions, I must admit. So we'll put them to one side and have a looky-loo in the box of goodies. Simple sprues. First one there is got all your exhausts, engines, all of that gubbins on there. You've got your chain, which we'll be doing a bit of work on. Really clearly moulded stuff as well, I must admit. It's really nice. You get your numbers and you get your letters in the corner of the sprue. There's the frame, sides and insert, airbox, bits and bobs, handlebars, all of that. So looking really good. I really do like that. Next up, got the wheels, front forks, got all the disc brakes. Already they've pre-drilled them as well, folks. Normally what a lot of us do is we have to go around with the old pin vise and drill all the little holes out to make them look more authentic. But on this one, it's already done for you. I like that little touch. So Then what else have we got? Oh, we've got all the fairings and the tank, bits and bobs, seat trim, and there's also another little bag here that's got the front section of the tank in that covers the ECU and other electronics garbage. So just keep an eye out for that. Make sure it's in the box, because I do know a few people that have ordered these from other suppliers and got caught out because bits have been missing out the box. So yeah, you've got your decals here. Again, in the bottom corner there, you'll notice a letter A, and on the other one a letter B. It's because of the two build types. So I'm not going to be using the letter B ones for now. There's only the Speedo ones that I'm going to use out of that. So I'm going to fold the backing paper over it so that I don't pick up the wrong decal sheet by mistake. So I'll put them in there nice and safe. Also got another couple of carbon decals by the look of that, and some masks. I need to get my eyesight of goodness lenses on my glasses there just to check to see what them two tiny ones are. And then we got a bag with the tube, the tyres, a wee screwdriver there. I've got a drawer full of these now, but they do come in handy. And all your screws and bits and bobs there to attach your engine and your panel. What else have we got? It's looking like we might have a few more bits and bobs in here, so let's have a looky look. Oh, we've got a nice pamphlet here, and yeah, it's got the scheme of the bike in both liveries, and also it's got all your numbers for your decal placements. So keep hold of that. That's an important one. And you've also got now some Tamiya tech tips. Yes, folks, you get a sheet of little guides, etc. So if this is your first build, it just gives you some tech tips, because not everyone watching this is going to be an experienced modeler. That's why when I do my builds, I try to go back to basics as best I can, so that I can capture the folks that are just getting into the hobby. And also, if you want to build along to this, pop over to eModels.co.uk. They're my sponsor for this build. Have a look on their website. Order one in. The description for it is, or the link for it is in the description of this video below. Click on, have a look at what goodies they sell, and yeah, grab yourself one of these, and you too can build along with me. What else have we got? Right, we've got some paint. These have all been sent over by the guys at eModels. First up, we've got LP40. And that's a metallic black paint for the frame. We've then got Tamiya LP62 titanium gold. Oh yeah, a bit of titanium gold, eh? Have you a bit of that? Next up, LP63 titanium silver. We then got the racing blue, which is LP45. Over in this corner, we've then got some mica silver, LP62. And we've got LP1 black. I am waiting for the Italian red. All of these paints that I'm going to use in this kit build, ignore the broken lid there, I've got loads of spares. All the paints that I'm going to be using in this build are going to appear at the end of the video. So if you lose track of what paints I'm on, have a look at the end and you'll have a consumables used in the video thing. And it just gives you a list of all the paints and bits and bobs that I've been using. Next up, we got some CS34. And this is camel yellow. So we're going to decant that into pots and spray with that. We've then got AK's flat black, and that's RC001. So we got a pot of that. And then we got some AK Extreme Metals. We've got a black base, AK471. And yeah, so you apply that to all of your base stuff. We then got AK472 gold. And yeah, that looks seriously gold, doesn't it? We got part of that. And then we got AK-477, little shaky pops, and that's the chrome. So yeah, nice bit of AK Extreme Metals. So that is the paints we're going to be using for this little build. Right, shall we make a start then? Yeah, why not? Let's have a looky-loo. So we got a bit of engine going on. So section 1, we're just going to be looking for all these bits on the sprues. Now you'll have capitalizations there in bold: D31, D45, D32. That corresponds even to the sprue number and the sprue letter. So we'll just nip these off as close to the sprue side of the gate as possible, and then we always then leave a little nub on there that we can trim off with our other nippers that can do that job a little bit better. So don't cut close to the piece straight away, just leave a little couple of mil poking out, and then you can come back and trim that off and neaten it up as much as you want. So we're going for the sides and the back power plate of the engine to get them assembled, like so. And we'll just nip there and there, like that. Okay, so that's the 3 bits that we're going to be working on for the moment. I can see the other post there, D13, that is poking out, so I'll have that and all. And then just put the cover over there, and then I'll use my other nippers just to clean up any of the sprues nubs. Alright, you can also do this with sanding sticks and things like that, but I like to try and trim the nub as close as I can with these, and then it leaves you very minimal sanding to do then. Just a couple of rubs of the old sanding sponge and yeah, Bob's your uncle, isn't it? So we can just clean that up a little bit. I've got my magnifying glass of goodness in front of me face whilst I'm doing this, because yeah, most of us wear glasses, and yeah, it can be difficult to see sometimes. So as always, just take care when you're trimming stuff. Make sure that your fingers are out the way, and yeah, 'cause you don't want to do Captain Stabbities and things like that. So we can neaten this off. Now I'm going to be going through this build and building what I would class as sub-assemblies. So they'll be the engine built to a certain stage, the frame to a certain stage. Just makes it easier when it comes to painting in the spray booth for me. And then I bring all the sections together on my jig, and yeah, just makes it easier for me. It's what works for you at the end of the day. It's your build. You can skip through it and do it as you want, but just bear in mind some of the pieces there is a set sequence for, like the chain going through the swing arm and things like that. You know, you don't want to forget key details. So we'll just run the sanding sponge along the side there like so, just to clean up any of these little bits before we start doing any gluing. So we're just going to carry on doing that. Nice bit of sandy. Very therapeutic as well, I must say. Do like a bit of sanding. Go, look at that. And again, once you get your primer down on things, you'll be able to spot whether you've got any nubs and things that need addressing. We'll get a fresh pot of the old thin glue there, the extra thin. And we'll start gluing this together. Let's have a look. I might bring down the gloopy glue as well. We'll see how the extra thin does. But yeah, I am a bit fussy. I like to try to squeeze out a bit of the kit plastic to fill any gaps. We'll dry fit. Always dry fit your parts first so that you get to see how they go together. That way, if you are putting a wrong piece in, you'll be able to identify it by the fact it doesn't fit properly. And then I run a bit of extra thin along the inside edge, like so, just to get that initial bond. And this stuff works by capillary reaction. Basically, you put a little bit in there and it just scoots along the join and puts a nice bead of glue in there. And it's fascinating when you first start using this stuff, because it does, it just zips along there and you think, how the hell does that do that? But man's best friend and a modeller's best friend is extra thin. So grab yourself some from eModels, and everything I'm using is available from eModels. So yeah, have yourself a looky-loo. Me nippers and things like that. The red-handled nippers on my own. All the Tamiya tapes and that you can see around me, it's all stuff that's been bought from our friends at eModels. Let's put them down there, like so. I might need a fresh bottle of the old glue there, so we'll sort that out in a sec. As if by magic, a full bottle appears. Quickly check the instructions to make sure that what I'm doing is what I'm doing. And it's going to be two halves of the engine going together with this post in the middle. So we'll just give that a dab there. And then put a dab in the other hole on the other side. And it just gives basically the engine a bit of rigidity even. So we just press that in like so. And then that should hold the side on whilst I then run a bead of glue along the seam. Same as what I did before, start with the inside edge. So we'll drop a bit in there, like so. Give that a squeeze. Normally I'd be wearing gloves, but yeah, it's been so warm. This is been filmed during our heat wave, so yeah, us Brits, you know, anything over minus is a heat wave in this country, but yeah. I'll just squeeze that together and let that take. And then we can put on the front section of the engine and close that off. But yeah, where the engine has different layers, it's a bit like a trifle, you know, with the paint lines and that. I tend to spray the main colour first, and then I mask off little bits and do them, and so it'll all become apparent when we set up the spray booth and film that. So we'll get that in there. I just want to put another little dab on that post just to get that to bite a little bit along the inside edge of that seam as well. And then give that a squeeze. And when you squeeze it, you'll notice that the plastic starts to melt. It welds it together. So then you can go back with a sander and make the seams disappear, basically. So some finny sticks will do the job. So yeah. Let's put a little dab in there as well. Just like that. Work our way around there. Just to close off anything that needs a little bit of TLC. Just give it a squeeze. Yeah. Okay. Brum brum noises. Dun, 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 brum brum brum. Right, let's just move that out of the way and have a little looky-loo and grab the other bits of the engine, I think. Might as well. So we want that piece. We'll grab that just like that. Nip them off of there. And get any other seams out of the way. Run along that with the sanding stick to get the nubs off. And I tend to run my finger along where I've cut just to see whether I can feel any protruding nubs. and then do a quick dry fit just to see how it goes together, and that just drops straight in there. This is the beauty of these Tamiya bikes, they really do fit so well. And if you are new to the hobby, or you're new to building motorcycles, you can't go wrong with a Tamiya kit. You really can't. Again, when you pop over to eModels, you can have a look on their section on their website, and they have all different categories of models: planes, trains, automobiles. But go into the bike section, and there's a wide range of bikes there for the beginner, and there's some wonderful machines. And yeah, you're gonna be spoilt for choice. I know I was when I first started going in there, and I built up quite a collection of bikes over the years. So yeah, and it never gets old building them either. Every one is slightly different, but the quality of these is second to none. I love them. Oh yeah, and also you get to do motorcycle noises around the bench whilst the wife or boyfriend or your partner ain't looking. You just wait until they're out of earshot, and you can just do brum brum noises and Evil Knievel all round your bench. Bit of Mark Marquez if you're doing a MotoGP bike, and Valentino Rossi. We all do it. I know I do. I hope you all do, because otherwise I think I might need to see someone. So let's just drop that down out the way, and we are then going to look for the Cylindric cover, I reckon. We're not going to put the plugs in yet, because obviously I want to paint the engine and get that done, and then I'll paint the plugs and then assemble them. So I'll get the rocker cover on and the sump, and then I'll probably put the engine as a sub-assembly to one side, because that'll be all getting painted up, and then I can put on all the ancillary components after, like the covers, the oil filter, and bits and bobs, because they all need painting and decaling up. So a little bit of a nub there I can feel, so I might just trim that. Have a check on the old instructions, section 2. Oh yeah, it says there D35. There's a couple of prongs that are poking out that you want to run a knife blade along, so they're not needed. So we'll get the old nippers of goodness against that, and we'll get rid of that one. Bink, and we'll get rid of that one. Go on, bink. There you go. Now let's have a quick check. Put a bit of gloopy on this one, just along that edge there. Why are you using gloopy? I hear you are. Sometimes these heads can just pop off. So I tend to use a bit of gloopy on there to get it to start biting, and then if needed I scoot a little extra thin down there just to speed the process up. Works for me. Yeah, let's give that a squeeze. See what I mean? It pops off. Yeah. Line that up a little bit better. Go. And again, once it's dry, I then go round it under the magnifying glass and look for any seams that I'm not happy with, and then I can go back and attack them to get rid of them. Oh yeah. But at the moment we're just gluing bits together, and we can do the lipstick and mascara stage on each sub-assembly then, and go round and de-seam and get rid of anything that we don't like the look of. Right, I think we're ready to put the sump on. Let's go hunting for that. It's around there. It is. Yeah, because it's got the flat section where the exhaust pipe wraps under the engine from the near side to the off side. So we'll just run them along there just to nip any of the nubbage off that we don't need. Because again, on this piece as well, it says in the instructions in section 3 to just nip off a couple of the rabbit ears. So keep an eye out for that, folks, because you'll probably end up trying to press it together and wondering why it won't fit. But there's a couple of ejector pin marks on there, so you just want to nip them off and get them out of the way, and then it'll fit fine. I'll do the same with this, a bit of super glue. around the edges of the sump. And then orientate it the right way round. So, yeah. Come on, Cole. Ain't that hard. There you go. Just need to stop me trembling. There you go. Try and get that. No, you spoon. It goes around sideways. Boom. Come on. There you go. Yeah, the magnifying glass is out. Yeah, there you go. You've got to turn it around, mate. That's it. Because it's handy. It goes. There you go. See? We got there in the end. Yeah, that's that rabbit here, see? Left one right in the corner. Pink. There you go. Oh, yeah. Now we're talking. See? There you go. Apologies if I do venture off into the corner there, into the left corner, but I have a rather large magnifier on a boom arm that I need to look through every now and then just to make sure that pins are engaging and that, because I can't see them when I've got the iPhone in front of my face, because I'm filming this, obviously. I've got an iPhone right in front of my field of vision, so I'm building this kit looking at the iPhone, not at the bench. So sometimes you can not quite see clearly enough on the phone screen what you're doing. So I have a boom arm with a magnifier on the left there, folks. So if I do go off into the bottom corner, I know it can be slightly distracting, but it's just so that I can see what I'm doing. I try to edit it out as best I can. Right, I think now that we're at that stage with the engine, I know there's pipes to be added, hoses and all of that lot, but they're all going to be painted off on the sprues before they get put on the kit. So I think we'll have a look at the frame and start assembling some of that, folks. So let's just have a bit shufty around and give myself a bit of room. And we're going to be looking for sprue B, I do believe. So that's the one we want for now, with all the bits and pieces of the frame on. So we'll cut one side off first. We'll do the near side first and get all the bits glued onto that. And then we can come round and do the other side and do the same. We'll just snip these off. Again, just leave a couple of mil of a rabbit's ear on the model. And then you can come back and nip them off nice and flush when you've done your sanding. So let's grab that piece as well, because that goes inside the frame. Quickly get the knobs off of these. Nice little bit of nippage. There's one on the tip of there. That's the one. Just there where the engine sits. Yep, happy with that. What we got on this one? Just have a look through the glass of seeing this. There's one just there. And just there. Is that? Yeah, that's the one. And one there. Pink. There you go. A quick little sand. Like so. Let's have a look through just to make sure that that's definitely a nub. Yeah. I just want to trim that with me scraper of goodness. There you go. I'm happy now. I know I'm a bit of a fuss pot, but yeah, why not? Because that would get difficult to denub if that was joined to the frame, that one. So get a bit of the old dry fit going. Excuse me. Yeah, it goes around that way. Just put that in the locating pins, into the locating holes just on the inside of the frame there. Like so. And this is section 6, peeps. just like a dot of extra fin in there like that. Have you some of that? There you go. That's that bit in. Ooh, I'm getting excited now. Oh no. I'm easily pleased. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? Ooh. I notice on this as well, the headstock is a separate piece that you insert into the frame. That's strange that I've not seen that on the Tamiya bike before. Whether that's a new thing or whether that's particular to this kit, but normally the headstock is a part of the moulding, so yeah, strange little idea, different. We've got some internal covers as well that go in the front end of the frame. This is B32, it's a little semicircular segment, and it just basically covers up that little hole in the frame there with an H. I just rest it to one side and I slide it over like a sliding door with me scraper of goodness. It will then just plop into place like that. There you go. Job's good. There you go. And the only reason I'm using that is I couldn't find my spudger. It's there somewhere. It's in the pot of tools that I had to me left. So. What next? What next? What next? What next? Shall we go? Let's have a look. Do the headstock. Two halves of this, and this is what the triple tree goes through. The top end of the forks with the handlebars on goes up through a hole in the frame there. So yeah, so you put these two halves together. Now you want to be careful when you're doing this, because you don't want to slap glue everywhere, because you don't want any in the area where the triple tree is going to go up, because it will make the handlebars and forks bind as you try to turn them. So I'm going to use my glue for this bit, and I'll put it along the leading edge and the back edge of the headstock, and then that way I won't have bindy handlebars. Don't want bindy handlebars, do you? End up turning like a Ducati otherwise, we don't want that. Just put a little bit of glue in there. I'm looking through my magnifying glass. So sorry for being off shot there, folks. It's just so that I know I'm putting glue along the edges where I want it to be. There you go. And then just press it together like that. Go. You won't have no glue then on the inside of that yoke. Like that. Ooh. I think we'll be ready for the other half. Let's have a look what bits we need. There's going to be some brace bars on the other side of the frame and the segment, I think. So we'll get that on. And then probably make that a wrap, I think, for this episode when we get that on there. Let's have a look, make sure that I'm getting the right bits and the bobs. I think we want B18, which is the brace bar. We're on section 7 now, folks. And we want B31, which is the segment, and B29, which is the other frame off. I'll just quickly flick through the instructions so that I can see what sections and segments I'm going to do. Like the exhaust will be one complete section and little sub-assemblies. So we'll go through that next episode for my methodology, but it's all part of the planning. I look through the instructions a couple of times, and then I just say, right, that'll be an assembly, that'll be an assembly. And when it comes to painting, it just makes your life a bit easier, folks. So keep watching. You might end up picking up some of the tips and then switching them around to suit yourselves. So it's well worth doing. Right, let's do this piece. We'll cut that off. Dum, 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 dum. Again, I'm just looking through my glass of goodness just to make sure that I'm knocking off pieces that don't need to be on the model rather than cutting pieces off that should be on the model, because we've all done that. So that's the frame off there, and there's a little segment go in there, and a brace goes across between the two halves of the frame. So it's right there. I think it's B18 if I remember rightly, which is there. So we'll have that segment, and B18 is just there. There you go. Remember, folks, you can get this kit from eModels, .co.uk. Pop over to their website anytime and have a looky-loo. You can get all your tools, your glues, pretty much everything you need for the hobby. Have a browse through the different sections and see what takes your fancy. And come and join the modelling community, because, you know, we are a nice bunch of people. We look after each other. There are other eModels builders as well, so pop over to the YouTube channel. Have a look through there and you can see the other builders' work. There's also the Facebook page that you can hit up and have a looky-loo there and post pictures too. And we also do the Monday eModels show, me, Fox, Chris and Ted. And that is on a Monday at 9 PM. And it's fun and frivolity and joviality. And maybe on the odd rare occasion, there might be a bit of modelling involved. Yeah, who'd have thought it, eh? I'll just drop that headstock in there and dry fit that, just to see how that looks. Oh yeah, we now know how that goes. So, dry fit's done. Let's get a bit of glue involved and get this bad boy assembled. So we'll just put that in there, and it'll only fit one way round. So yeah, just double check your instructions to make sure you're orientating it the correct way. It does make a difference. So have a quick double check on your instructions just to make sure that you're happy with the placement, and then you can glue the piece in. Just like that. And then grab that one. Apologies for the beep there, that was me med alarm going. I'll sort that out in a minute. Yeah, probably. Don't know whether to clamp that or not. It might be a bit fragile. We'll have a look at it. We'll see. These can be a bind to stick sometimes, so you might have to sit there and hold it in place for a little while. Try not to twitch like I do though, because you drop stuff. And then we can start popping the front end together like that. And I make brum brum noises already. Brum 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 brum. Yeah. There you go. I'm happy now. And then we can put a dab along there. There you go. And you can see how that headstock fits in there now, in that frame. And that's on section 8, just on the left side of the instructions. You'll see it tells you there just to pop that in there as you're putting the frame together, like so. And again, you can use clothes pegs, anything like that, to hold the front together, but 9 times out of 10 it just pays just to sit there holding it with your hands. But I've got various clamps and jaws of goodness that may or may not fit, but sometimes they can stress the piece, so the extra fin does go off pretty quick, so it'll join. Yeah. There you go. It's beginning to bite now. And that, folks, is the beginnings of a frame. And I think that is looking pretty mint. I want to have a look through the glass of goodness to make sure I'm orientating that the correct way, and it sits with the pin facing upwards, folks. So yeah, like so, and it just locates in the bottom there. So now that that's in place, we can just go around the edges of it with a bit of extra thin now, keeping it away from the actual hole where the triple tree goes through, folks. Just remember that. You just want to join the outside of the casing to the frame. Run a bit of glue along there, a little bit along there like that. Sweet. Have you some of that? Right. I think now that we got that glued together, I think we can just check to make sure it's biting, and then we'll wrap this episode up at this stage. Safekeeping. Yeah, let's bung it on the jig. Right, I've got a wee jig here that I 3D printed. A little bike building jig, and going to hook the bike up in there. I'm just going to rest the frame in where I want it to be. I don't want to drill any additional holes in this because I'm not using any detail up or aftermarket on this. I'm doing it as a straight out of box build. If I were, then I would have drilled certain bolts out of the frame and things to fit this. But yeah, I'm doing a standard build there, but I just want to keep it safe. Now, this is just to keep it from flying around the bench whilst it's drying, but when I've painted stuff and it's had its coating and the decals need to go on, for me this is really useful because it's fully adjustable. As you can see, just undo your retaining nuts and then just turn the nail bar and along it slides. But for me, because I twitch a lot and shake a lot, this is a godsend. So pop this episode now. Thank you for watching. Pop over and see the guys at eModels, .co.uk. Stay awesome, keep building models, and I look forward to seeing you for the next episode. Bye bye for now.